Dude, welcome to the free-to-play account, man, where I've never even cleared stage 16 of Spider's Den before. Surely we can pull this off now. Come on, mate. With the fully booked Supreme Gallic and the Thorlin Foulbait on the team, this should be doable, surely, right? This kind of feels like the only way to progress, really, in Spider's Den, when you're on, like, a fairly early game account still, is just build big AoE nukers and kind of brute force it, man. That's why the topic of today's video is going to be free-to-play, budget-friendly champions, rares, epic champions, trying to stay away from Void Affinity rares and epics if I can, that just absolutely spank the hell out of Spider's Den and are actually going to help you progress in this otherwise very, very troublesome dungeon. It's just a tough one to progress in, man. Compared to like Dragon, which give it like a few weeks on the counter, you're already at like stage 20, you know? Bloody hell, this is a long clear. God's truth, man. Like, words can't explain how good of a progression legendary Thorlin Foulbait is, and knowing that he just so went into Hydra later on as well is just nuts. Let me see his damage. Ugh, he's not even fully booked and he's almost keeping up with the Supreme Gallic, who, believe me, is fully booked. Well, stage 16 down for the first time ever. That feels pretty good, at least. Hey, man, before we get into the list, if you're looking to join me in my free-to-play adventure, man, and start off a new free-to-play account of your own, or invite a friend to start playing Raid, send them the beginner promo link that you can find down below the top of the description box, man. It's just a juicy, saucy start. It's fresh off the press. It's still steaming out of the oven, man. You can get Basilios Uranus as your day one free starter legendary champion, as well as a sweat load of just juicy, saucy A and S tier epic champions as well for all progression on that account as you level up the account as well. You can also get Thorlin Foulbait completely for free on day one of your new raid account as well for a limited time only, I think, just by using beginner code Demon Slayer on day one of your new account as well, which is exactly what I did on my free-to-play account also, except that's a lie. Not on this account. I did the fusion on this free-to-play account to get this guy, but on my other free-to-play account, yeah. Promo code Demon Slayer, the way to go, man. Okay, first champion, Armager. The spider boss itself is very, very vulnerable to decreased speed debuffs and to decreased 10-meter debuffs, right? You can make it so that the spider never gets a single turn. The catch is that if you run a 10-meter controller like Armager on your team, you might only level him up to like level 50 or something. He's very, very fragile, and so he's going to die very fast to the spiderlings. And so really, if you're going for a 10-meter control style kill on the spider boss, you better have the other 4 champions on your team moving very, very quickly and either nuking down all of the spiderlings or consistently crowd controlling all of the spiderlings, stuns, freezes, 10-meter decrease, that kind of thing. Just giving Armager the space that he needs to make sure that the boss never gets a turn. Great, great uncommon champion, worth building on basically every account in Raid, unless you pull like an early, you know, I don't know, Cold Heart or Allure or something. Not that Allure is particularly good into Spider. Next to man, the rare champions. Cold Heart. I know I said I'd stay away from the Voids. We have to touch on Cold Heart. She's just a joke, really, as far as how good she is into both Fire Knight Dungeon and Spider Dungeon. A3 is what it is all about. Attacks one enemy, bookable down to a 4-turn cooldown when fully booked. Decrease the target's 10 meter by 100%. Already excellent. Has an extra 30% chance of inflicting a crit. Well, that's very nice. Now we don't have to build it with 70% crit rate. And damage increases according to enemy max HP, leading to teams like this if you've got a couple of Cold Hearts on your account. What you're about to see is a bit of team gameplay from a double Cold Heart Royal Guard team. So 3 max HP nukers against stage 20 Spider. This is my speed farming team for Spider, and this is what a Cold Heart can do. So massive smack from the Royal Guard, and then 2 massive smacks from the 2 Cold Hearts, and the boss dies in like 12 seconds. So yeah, Cold Heart's pretty good. I don't think I really need to cover any more than that. A more slept on rare champion for progression in Spider is actually going to be a fusion component champion. The boldest man in all of Teleria. It is Executioner. This nerd right here, let me tell you something about this. A2 is way underrated, man. So it's a 3-turn cooldown when fully booked. Attack all enemies, decrease 10 meter by 20%, so against the spiderlings and the spider boss, and has a 75% chance when fully upgraded of placing the 15% version decrease speed debuff for 2 turns. So it's only the weak version of decreased speed, but you know what, man? An Executioner alongside something like a nice and fast Armager, and then the rest of the team just moving quick and helping to control the spiderlings, that can be enough 10-meter control to keep the spider under control, man. This is a good champ. He's quite gear dependent, I will say as well, given that his base speed down here, as you can see, is sitting at 89. It's like one of the lowest base speeds in the game for like rare epic quality champions. So he does need a bit of help from gear. You're of course going to be committing 1 or more executioners to fusions on your account as well. But if you want to spare one of them to build out to like level 50, get him moving nice and quick, maybe even take him all the way to 60, to be honest, if you're really struggling for 10-meter controllers on your account, you could definitely do that and give them a banner and get them moving nice and quick with a banner as well. Yeah, this could be a good rare champ option for some Spider progression. Now onto the epics. Yes, we're onto the epics already. Spider is one of those dungeons that's notoriously rough to progress in, precisely because you need some specialist champions, and rares most of the time just don't really cut it. Thankfully, the first champion though that we're going to cover on this list is going to be Haikatune. This is a great little champion, man. She does a very, very solid job, to be honest, man. She brings the speed or a lead into Spider, which is awesome. The faster you can be moving compared to the Spiderlings and to the Spider Queen itself, the better. Any boss in the game where you're looking to control the boss's turn meter and can place decreased speed against the boss and stuff, generally speaking, just having your team moving as fast as possible is always going to be a good idea. She also brings an increased speed buff, strong version, 10 meter fill, and a little bit of AoE wave control as well, and 10 meter control with her A3 also. She's actually a very, very much slept on Spider champion, in my view. I'd imagine, okay, she's ranked at about a 4.1 in Spider's Den. I put her like a 4.4, 4.5 or something, given how easy she is to get. You just play the game for 30 days and she's yours. She even brings a strong decreased speed debuff on her A1 as well, albeit at a rather low land rate. If you're able to pair up the likes of a Haikatune with the next champion on this list, then you're basically laughing and you're halfway towards clearing Spider's Den very, very easily, man. It's the Deke. Deacon Armstrong. Dude, I recently did an account takeover, man. I won't name names. I did an account takeover recently where this guy had a Deacon Armstrong sitting at level 50 on the account, and I was like, bro, level the Deacon Armstrong. Like, you've got like 3 or 4 level 60s on this account. Get that Deacon fully booked and get him to 60 as soon as possible. You're going to use him in every single team in the game. And he messaged back, he was like, you sure, man? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't really think of anywhere that I'd use him. I was like, how about everywhere, bro? What do you mean? Like, his best champion? Like, honestly, until you've built the Deacon Armstrong at 60 and you have him moving fast and getting this 10 meter boost and this 10 meter decrease against enemies, and he also gets an extra 10 from this A3 as well, so it's really a 210 cooldown skill on this 10 meter control skill. It's absolutely insane. Until you get him built and get him using this skill, you don't realize how good it is. He also brings a speed aura as well, 19% at all battles, so he can be your aura lead if you want. Brings AoE decreased defense on a 310, 100% land rate. Can't ask for much more than that, except he does provide more than that with a double hitter A1 bringing leech debuff also, and so yeah, and he's just great everywhere, man. Amazing into Fire Knight, amazing into basically all dungeons. Particularly good into Spider for helping clear off the Spiderlings with the decreased defense debuff and all that 10 meter control, just getting your team firing 10 times faster than the Spider and the Spiderlings ever could. Next up, a more unusual champion on this list, but hear me out, okay? Seachulk. I'm covering a lot of 10 meter controllers and decreased speed champions first. Seachulk is a good one, man. This is a damage dealer for the Ogren tribes that is sort of a jack of all trades. He's good into a lot of different areas of the game. He's not really a specialist anywhere. That's like his one downside, but for a progression damage dealer epic that's going to give good value in faction wars over time anyway, not just in Spider and stuff, he's very, very good, right? Smacks the Spiderlings, right? Buffs himself with increased attack for 2 turns, then attacks all enemies. 100% chance buck to placing decreased defense debuff for a couple of turns. It's a shame he doesn't place the decreased defense before attacking, but whatever, right? He's got an AoE skill to help you deal with the Spiderlings. On his A3, places increased crit rate, increased crit damage buff on himself for 2 turns, then attacks 1 enemy. 100% chance bucked on a 3 turn of placing 30% decreased speed on the target for 2 turns. Premium to bring into Spider's Den, as we might all agree, right? And then we've got the A1. Attacks 1 enemy, decrease the target's 10 meter by 15% if the target is under decreased defense or decreased speed, both of which he brings. I give you Seachulk. He's just very, very saucy. I'm going to get to an example clip using Seachulk in just a sec too. Just right after we get to Ruella. This is a great, great progression epic champion as well. Also into Fire Knight, certainly into Spider. Great 10 meter controller with a triple hitter on A1, each crit with a chance of stealing 5% of the target's 10 meter. Into Spider's Den, you actually want to go ahead and disable her A3. You don't really need this 10 meter fill and the increased crit rate buff on allies. You can go ahead and disable this and just have her spam the hell out of her A1 after opening with her A2, which is a triple hitter, each hit with a chance of placing decreased defense, weaken, and decreased speed for 2 turns. All of the boss killer debuffs that you want against Spider wrapped up in one skill. Yeah, have her open with this skill, then you can disable it most of the time and just have her spam her A1. Keep her safe, right, alongside like an Armiger or a Deacon or whatever, you know, for some extra 10 meter control. and they're going to take care of the 10-meter control job completely. And so this is a team composed of basically all champions that we've covered in this list so far, right? We've got the Haikatoon. She's prioritized. We're not done, by the way. There's a lot more champions to come in this list, but I just wanted to throw a team together using some of the champions we've touched on so far. Haikatoon, Aura lead, increased speed, 10-meter control, good stuff. Deacon Armstrong, we've just covered him, right? Ruella, 10-meter control. I'm having her open up with her A2 to place the decreased speed and all these debuffs. Then I'm going to ban her from using that skill completely, and I just want to spamming her A1 for that 10-meter control on that A1. We've got Siege Hulk, who actually doesn't need to open with his decreased speed debuff at all in this team, because we've got Ruella doing that job already, and so he's just going to spam AoE skills, kill off spiderlings, and then use his A1 to help with 10-meter control as well. And then we've got a random Tholin down here, who on new accounts you can get with promo code Demon Slayer. He was a recent fusion champion. Hopefully you've got him. Otherwise, something like an Alice would work, right? Just like a big AoE nuker, well built, that's going to help keep the spiderlings under control alongside the Siege Hulk. And so instead of the Tholin, you could also run something like a Achak or champions that could just crowd control all of the spiderlings. And we'll get to some of those in just a second after we have shown this clear, which I haven't tested, by the way, but should work given how empowered and how like awakened all of these champions are. I know, like, obviously these champs on my main account, they're so empowered and so strong that they should be able to clear this quite easily without too much trouble. But even still, I think it's important that I show the team in action just a little bit at least. And so yeah, we've got all the debuffs up on the spider. The most important ones are decreased defense and decreased speed. Those are the only real two that you need. Beyond that, 10-meter control, have a nice fast team, which Deacon Armstrong and Haikatoon are going to help out with a hell of a lot, right? Just, they're like the engine of the team, keeping everything moving nice and quick. And then a way to control the spiderlings, which the Tholin is going to take care of with a couple of smacks just there. Ooh, they actually got one attack through, man. That makes me a little bit nervous, to be fair. Also should point out here as well that there are strategies for clearing spider that we've covered many times on this channel in other videos covering like different types of teams that you can build out of these champions that are, you know, apply HP burn to everything, all of the spiderlings and the boss, and then just control the spiderlings and try not to kill them. Just let the HP burn debuffs tick, and every time an HP burn debuff ticks, the big spider boss takes a percentage of his health as damage, and that's a way that you can just go for like a burn and control strategy against spider, and that's totally a way that you can do it as well. This is more of just like a brute force kind of strategy, but with a little bit of 10-meter control thrown in there for good measure. And of course, in a team like this, yeah, we're using Ruella for a lot of the 10-meter control as well. This could be an armager. To be honest, I don't even know if the Ruella is necessary in this team because the Deacon's moving so fast that I don't think the Ruella's 10-meter control is even needed, really, to stop the boss from ever getting a turn, but I put her in there anyway for the demo. So next up, man, some of the controller type champions that you can use alongside the likes of a Mordecai, right, who I'm going to cover as the HP burn champion option for this team. Mordecai is so good for the control and burn option, controlled burn, you might even say, option, because he doesn't actually attack all enemies when he places his HP burn, right? 100% land rate burn, 4-turn cooldown when booked, places increased attack as well, places HP burn debuff on all enemies for 2 turns, right? You don't want to kill the spiderlings if you're going for a mass HP burn strategy on the spiders. You want to keep them burning so they constantly tick for max HP damage against the boss. And so Mordecai isn't going to risk killing the spiderlings with this. He just places the HP burn, which is lovely. Also on his A2, brings all kinds of 10-meter decrease in 10-meter fill for your team as well on a 3-turn. So he helps to kind of keep your team firing and ahead of your opponents. Also, for controllers, probably the best epic quality, just budget quality control champion in this game for Spider's Den in specific is going to be Achak the Wendron. This guy, man, okay, so it's all really about his A3 and his passive, right? He brings an attack all enemies. It's a shame that it's an attack, but, you know, just don't build him for damage. Again, you don't want him killing the spiderlings. You want him freezing the spiderlings, which he can do at a 90% land rate on a 3-turn cooldown skill, right? 90% chance to place freeze on all enemies on a 3-turn cooldown. That's amazing control for an epic champion. And then you read the passive, okay? Fill the 10 meter of all allies by 10% every time an enemy under freeze gets a turn. There's 12 spiderlings, bro. This is a 120% 10 meter fill with no cooldown on this passive, and it gets him around again to refreezing the spiderlings extraordinarily quickly. This is a guy who I've shown clips of before on the channel in a couple of videos at this point. Even at like level 50, built nice and fast, this guy can do a job in Spider's Den in these HP burn teams. Only downside is he takes a lot of skill books, like a stupid amount of skill books can go into the A1, which is deeply unfortunate. Next up, man, a less discussed Spider champion is going to be Creodan. Creodan is, of course, amazing into Fire Knight's Castle. He's only ranked as a 4.4 into Spider's Den, which I think is absurd given that he brings an attack all enemies 2 times each hit, 65% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. Again, if you just don't build your Creodan for damage, he can do much a similar job as Achak the Wenderin, except he also brings an increased speed buff and 10 meter fill as well on a 310 on a Zayr 3, and so slightly different but similar-ish kind of kit to Achak, really, when it comes to how you would be using him in Spider. Of course, he's great into hard mode Fire Knight as well, which is his main use on most people's accounts, but yeah, he can do a job as your controller into Spider also. Another great controller is good old Hoskarul, who brings a 3-turn cooldown, 75% chance of placing stun on enemies for a turn. Very, very nice as well. Only 75% land rate makes it so that you can't really trust Hoskarul to do the job completely on his own, and so you might want to throw him in alongside something like I don't know, maybe even like a Sill of the Drakes or something like that, you know, to just keep those spiderlings on total lockdown and just constantly stunned up as much as possible. We've also got the newest epic champion on the street at the time I'm recording this video, Gorm Yarhand. This guy's great. Just like Hoskarul, he brings in, well, wait a minute, his A3 brings an attack all enemies, decrease enemy 10 meter by 15%, great, 3-turn cooldown by the way, then a 75% land rate booked stun debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. He's basically Hoskarul with a bit of extra 10 meter control, and he also brings the increased speed buff, so this guy can actually replace a High Katoon on your team alongside a Deacon Armstrong and form an extremely powerful wave control pairing to just make sure that the Spiderlings basically never get to do anything in Spider's Den. Another godly controller is Miscreated Monster. Way underrated, by the way. Again, this is another champion that I did an account takeover with recently. The champion was built out at level 60. He was fully booked. He was only one of like 7 level 60 champions or something, and he wasn't getting used anywhere in the game. I was like, bro, we have to be using this guy in Ice Golem. We should be using this guy in Spider. He brings a 50% land rate stun on attack all enemies on his A2. Only 50%, okay? But the upside is, it's 3-turn cooldown, and he also places a shield buff on all allies for 3 turns, equal to 25% of the damage inflicted. Against bloody the Spider Boss and 12 Spiderlings, if you build a Miscreated Monster, which you should, with 100% crit rate and at least a crit damage amulet, he can hit pretty hard with the skill and provide massive long-term duration shields across your entire team that are like in the tens of thousands, easily in the tens of thousands. Makes it so that even if he doesn't land the stun on all of the Spiderlings, which he isn't gonna do, he's gonna give your team insane protection against these Spiderling attacks. And lastly, a champ that I gotta touch on because honestly, I disagree so vehemently with the reviews that this champion has got, and I want to pull this champion so badly just so I can build it out and test it here on my main account. It's it's Bloodfeather. Okay, it's Bloodfeather. Do I have this champion? Check real quick. Orc faction. Do I have a Bloodfeather man? No, I must have used it in a fusion, dude. Is she in the reserve vault? She's not. She's in the reserve vault! Oh, get her out of there! Okay, get her to the collection, man. Oh my god, that means that I was planning on using this champion as a chicken. We can't be having that, man. Bloodfeather, I'm building this champion. I'm building this champion, dude. This champion is going to feature in a review video, and I'm going to prove once and for all that she doesn't suck, okay? Dude, she's got some reviews that make absolutely no sense in this game. Spider's Den, Fire Knight's Castle 3s? Dude, you go to hellhades.com, it gets even better. Yeah, hellhades.com has her at a 2-star champion, bro. A 2. Okay, we scroll on down. What's she rated in Fire Knight? 1 star. 1 star? Bro! I know she doesn't bring any multi-hitter skills, but you know what she does bring? Strong version, 100% land rate, decrease speed on a 3-turn cooldown, decrease the target's 10 meter by 50%. How can she be a 1 star, man? And by the way, hear me out, man. Armiger as an uncommon champion is ranked as a 4-star champion and a 5-star champion into Fire Knight. Now, I know Armiger's an uncommon, so he's way easier to build than a Bloodfeather. I get it, right? But dude, I'm gonna write a strongly worded email to Hell Hades himself Because, yeah, I don't know about this, man. Amateur brings a single target hit at A1 that decreases turn meter by 30%. Don't get me wrong, great Fire Knight champion as well. I think that he's probably worth like a 3 or a 4 star review. But how can Bloodfeather be any lower than a 3 star as well herself? You know what I'm saying, man? Anyways, yeah, she also brings a A2 that places a strong version decreased defense. Again, 3-turn cooldown. All of her skills also have an extra 30% chance of inflicting a crit as well. So she's like rather easy to build out in terms of hitting that 100% crit rate on her. Yeah, need a 10 meter controller, need a reliable decreased speed champion, because that's tough to come by in the early game as well. Finding a champion that has a reliable way, a 100% land rate way of placing strong version decreased speed against bosses and brings 10 meter control in the same skill, this is very, very good for progression into Fire Knight and into Spider's Den. Certainly not a 1-star champion. And who knows, maybe when I do a review on this champion, when I eventually build her up on this account, and hopefully it shouldn't take me too long, maybe I'll be eating my words and she sucks. Who the hell knows, man? We'll get there when we get there. She is going to conclude our list in this video, man. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all did enjoy, man. If you feel like I missed any champions in this list, make sure to go ahead and plop them down below in the comments, man. Appreciate it. Especially everybody who's watching this who's like a beginner player, looking for ways to progress in Spider's Den. I'm sure they'd appreciate it as well, man. Hey, if you're going to start off a new raid account, use the beginner promo link that's down below at the top of the video description box, man, to get that done for the maximum amount of free stuff. And I'm going to catch all of you guys just a tad bit later, man.